This is Yair Davidiy speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. I represent Brit-Am movement of the 10 tribes of Israel. We believe that lost 10 tribes, now to be found amongst Western peoples. They are brother nations to the Jewish people. The Jewish people now lives to a great degree in the land of Israel, in the state of Israel. The USA is a friend of Israel. The USA is a supporter of the state of Israel. To some extent, it is the major supporter that we have. It is, in certain instances, the only supporter Israel has, though we have friends elsewhere. Israel, the state of Israel, needs the USA. The USA has helped Israel, is helping it, and it will, God willing, help it in the future. But not a one-way avenue. The USA also receives much from Israel in the spiritual and the physical realms. The USA needs Israel, and this is what we are about to discuss in this present talk as to why the USA needs Israel. What need does the USA have of the state of Israel? In our generation, we could say that Americans, the people of America, the USA, have a need for the state of Israel insofar as they have an innate sympathy, an innate, natural, instinctive identification with the state of Israel. A gut feeling of empathy, of brotherhood. And this is something which is instinctive, it is national, and we believe it is a reflection of the national inner soul awakening in preparation for the coming reunion of the 10 tribes, many of whom are found in the USA today, and eventually they will reunite with Judah, with the Jewish people. And this is it to say a premonition of this, a national premonition, a reawakening, an arousal of a feeling that the time is shortly to come when once again the tribes of Israel will be reunited, as we are told in Ezekiel chapter 37. And Israel is a pro-American country. There's no reason why Israel should not be liked, why America should not want to help Israel. Israel is a democratic country, it is a Western country. It gives the USA a permanent foothold in this region. This region is important. It is important for geographical reasons, for geopolitical reasons, for strategic regions. The dominance of this area determines much of what is going to develop in world power politics. Also, many of the oil resources of the USA are close by to this area, and America needs a friend, a permanent friend who she can rely upon close by to watch over them, because the Arabs cannot be trusted, as they have proven over and over again. And not only that, recent findings indicate that off the coast of Israel, in shale deposits, there may be more oil deposits that belong to Israel than all of Saudi Arabia, and these oil deposits may soon be able to be developed due to new technologies that Israel is developing, that are being developed in the state of Israel. So potentially everything that America has given to us could come back to her in a multifold, manifold blessing that she will receive in return for the help that she has extended to Israel. But beyond this, beyond all of these considerations, the most important factor, perhaps, as to why the USA or Americans support the state of Israel is because they have a belief in God. Americans believe in God more than any other people on earth, according to statistics. At least more than any other Western people, the Americans believe in God, they pray to God, they believe in prayer, and they believe in the Bible. The Bible gives Americans its life force. The Bible, no matter what you want to say as to how people interpret it, as to how people live it, it is the lifeblood of America. It is the life vitality of the USA. Comes from the Bible, and the Bible is simple, direct, literal truth message of the Bible is that the Jews should live in the land of Israel. This is biblical. This is what God wants. This is what God says He wants. God is a Zionist, and He says that He wants the state of Israel to exist, and Americans intuitively understand this, and therefore they relate to it, and they identify with the state of Israel for this reason as well as for other reasons. Objectively, we may say that a good portion of the nations of the world are against the state of Israel. One of the reasons is because of the Palestinians, the so-called Palestinians, who are displaced from the area, and they are in camps around the region in certain Arab countries, or they live in different areas. They live in America and South America, and they live all over the place, and they are on the whole resettled elsewhere. But this is an artificial. The whole problem is of the so-called Palestinians is artificial. But how did the Palestinians become refugees in the first place? They did so after a war in which they intended to destroy the Jewish state, to destroy the Jewish people, and as a result of this war, they were dislocated from the area. So the very fact that they became as they are, that they were dislocated, indicates that the sources of the conflict go beyond the Palestinian question. The sources of the conflict between the Jews and the Arabs, the Jews and the Palestinians, go back to biblical times, go back to Ishmael, who was expelled by Abraham because he would not be allowed to inherit together with Yitzhak. Yitzhak who gave birth, who begat Jacob, later known as Israel, who gave birth, who also begat the 12 tribes of Israel, the beginning of the Israelite people. And Ishmael was an enemy to the Israelite nations from the very beginning. As it was prophesied, it was said that he would be a wild ass of a man. His hand would be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and that is what happened. And the Palestinians are apart. They reflect the Arab ideology, the Arab attitude that wants to take over the world, as has been proven. They want to take over the world. They want to displace Israelite nations, including the USA, including the UK, including all the nations of Scandinavia and of Holland and of Europe. They want to or eliminate these countries, or make them Muslim, or do both. And they also want to get rid of the Jewish people, because they dislike Jews, as Jews, wherever Jews may be found, doesn't matter whether they're in the state of Israel or elsewhere. And these sentiments are shared for different reasons by other nations, and that is the real reason why many of the other peoples of the world are against the state of Israel. And this is perhaps less serious than it sounds, because they belong to that section of humanity that doesn't really give anything to humanity. It just takes. It is a retarded element in the human body, and they should be helped. They should be enabled to progress. They should not be discriminated against. We should not exert prejudice against them. But nevertheless, we should recognize things for being as they are. That we should not really care what these other people think, because they themselves are not of such a high standard themselves that we should care or worry about them, even though for its own sake righteousness should be done. And the righteousness says that the Jews should live in the land of Israel, and they should develop the land of Israel, as we have shown in other talks of ours. The USA itself has different elements within its population. It is Israelites, it is Edomites, it is Canaanites, it is other people in its population. The Israelite elements from the 10 tribes of Israel dominate the USA, but there are also others who are enemies to the USA, to the very being of their own country, of the USA itself, or they are friendly to the Arabs, or they are friendly to other elements who for one reason or other hate the Jews. Due to jealousy, due to feelings of inferiority, due to simple, natural, inborn nastiness that some people do have. Despite all of these negative elements within the USA, on the whole, the USA does support the State of Israel, and support for Israel in America remains strong. And the bottom line, the real reason for this support may be traced back to belief in the Bible, as well as other considerations that are also valid and in some cases also strong in themselves. That's why the lost 10 tribes with Western peoples. Amongst these tribes are the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. Historically, from areas in Western Europe, especially from the British Isles, came a good portion of the early settlers of America, they who gave something of their national character, their tribal character, as if to say, to the USA, and established the template of nation building and of national attitudes that was adopted and adapted and adapted to by everyone who came after them. They came from areas that may be identified as associated with the tribe of Joseph, with Ephraim and Manasseh, especially with Manasseh. Even though numerically there may be more descendants of Ephraim in the USA than of Manasseh, as well as many from other Israelite tribes, Manasseh still gives its tribal character to the USA. Manasseh was